Hi everybody, I'm Zilla Blitz and welcome back to our 6th patrol with our full playthrough of Raiders of the Deep from Compass Games. July 1915, and it's time to get the U-9 Teufelsfish back out into the North Atlantic. Welcome back everybody. I'm happy to be getting the U-9 Teufelsfish back out to sea. It's been a while in real time. I apologize for the delay. But to recap where we are so far, this is our 6th patrol. In our first 5 patrols, we've had 4 successes and 1 failure. We've sunk a total of 5 ships for 12,000 tons. Now, none of the wartime conditions have changed since our last patrol, so it's unrestricted submarine warfare means that we can sink unescorted merchant ships without any hindrance. The enemy has yet to develop these depth charges that we've heard about, and we do need to be wary of Q ships, which are wartime ships disguised as merchants. We'll only discover that as we get close within range. Also like to remind people we do have a crew with us. Our officers are First Watch Officer Scott Von Williams, Second Watch Officer Lieutenant Allenstein, our engineer is DM Tim, and our doctor is Mark Von Nelms. And speaking of experience and crew, our crew is up to veteran status. We would need 2 more successful patrols, and then we would roll to see which one of our officers or whether the crew itself would get more experience. So looking forward to that. That could be a couple of patrols away though. Let's not count our eggs before they're hatched. With that in mind, let's take a look at the U-9 and how we've outfitted it for this patrol, and then it is time to go off to sea. Oh, it's good to see the old Teufelsfish again. This is the U5 type. Ours is the U9 name, but Teufelsfish is what we've named it. We only have 6 torpedoes. We've got our best G6s in the forward tubes. Aft tubes are the second best C6s, and then our C-3591s that have the shortest range are loaded, ready for reloads in the forward tubes. Bigger problem, as we may recall, is that we've only got a 37mm deck gun here, which doesn't really have a lot of punch for doing damage to surface ships, but we will make do for the good of Germany here as we head out back to sea. Let's take a look at our patrol route. Very much a lather, rinse, repeat for our patrol routes in the British Isles. We're going to go through 2 transit zones, 3 zones in the British Isles, and the U5 type U-boat doesn't have enough range to go a 4th zone, so we'll search those 3 zones and then head back. You might recall in the last patrol we did get, we earned a multiplier patrol effect. I was tempted to use it on this patrol. I might actually use it on the next one, but I'm not sure yet. We'll talk about that when we get there, but for the moment this is just going to be a standard patrol. So we'll search once in each of these zones, and I'm hoping as we head out here into the transit zone that we won't get sunk in the very first transit zone on the way back. But let's get started. So it is time. Let's get back out to sea. I'm excited for this. It's been a while since we've been back out on patrol, of course. We are into our first transit zone. I've had this kind of fear that we're going to get squashed on the first transit zone, but hopefully we will make it through. Let's roll to see what we get. We get a 9. Nice. So we are clear and through on the first transit zone. Excellent. That's one fear covered here. Second transit zone. Hopefully we can have a nice clear passage. We get another 9. No problems. We are through into the hunting zone. Now this is a good time for hunting in the British Isles. We can see we have a good number of targets here. Let's see what our first opportunity presents us. We get a 4. Oh, most excellent. 2 ships. So now we need to roll to see whether they are large freighters or small freighters. 1 to 5 is a small freighter. We have yet to have a large freighter. We get a 1 and a 4, 2 small freighters. Okay, it is what it, I mean, rolling a 6 isn't that easy, so whatever. Eventually we'll get a large freighter. But let's see if we can get lucky now on our the names of the ships here. Here we are looking at the target roster for July 1915. Let's see what we get. We get a 22. The black die is the first die. Oh, very nice indeed. 3,200 ton Richmond. We have been very fortunate in rolling big, small targets, if that makes sense. In the last episode, we had the 3,800 ton Ethiopia, which was the second largest target available in that month. Let's see what our second target is. 42, the 2,200 ton Leo. I'd say both of those targets are well above average, considering that we do have some targets here that are just a mere 400 tons or 300 tons. So no complaints on our target size. Let's line this attack up now. All right, it's getting real now. I've got our two freighters set up here. The one on the left will be the Richmond. The one on the right will be the 2200 on Leo. First thing we need to do is determine whether it's day or night. A 1 to 3 and it's day. Almost always been here in the daytime. It doesn't really matter, again, with the surface engagement like this. We get another 3, so it is daytime. That doesn't matter too much here until something shows up. We are going to come in on the surface, and we are going to come in at close range. And again, the way this works is we can go through all of our weapons, our forward torpedoes, our aft torpedoes, and our deck guns, and then if there's still targets left and we want to stick around, at that point we roll to see if an escort shows up. But for the moment, it's free hunting here. Now, we do have this wimpy deck gun. I'm gonna put, and I think the most damage we can do with this 37mm gun is 1 hit. So let's take both shots at the Richmond, and maybe we will get lucky here and see if we can sink it, or at least do some damage to it here. We get 2 shots. We need a 0 to 8 to hit, and there are no die roll modifiers on it. Let's get lucky here. Let's get some hits. 7. All right, so the first deck gun shot piles into the side of the Richmond. Second one, 9, we missed. Darn it, our deck gun firing has not been very good. And if we look here on the damage, we can, the 37mm gun has a +3 on it. So we need a low roll here. A 2 + 3 is a 5. Yes, we got 1 damage. So we have damaged the Richmond here, but it is still floating. Now comes our next choice as to what we want to do. I should also remind us that we did have the option under these cruiser rules to try to take one of these ships as a prize. We're using the variant and the mod for this, but we're going to try to sink stuff for the moment. I want to focus on having a successful mission first, so we're going to try to sink stuff. With that in mind, we're going to fire our best torpedoes. We're going to put 1.1 at the Richmond. We're going to point 1 at the Leo. Let's see what we can do to get some damage here. Let's let loose these torpedoes here. We'll fire first at the Richmond with our G6. We need a 0 to 8 to hit, but because this is an unescorted ship, torpedo attack on the surface, we get a -1 modifier. So it's a 0 to 9, and the dud rate on these is a 1 or a 2 would be a dud. The white dice are for the hit, the black die is for the dud. Fire 1. We get a 7 and a 5. Yes! We've hit, and it will do at least 1 damage, which means that we have sunk the Richmond. Excellent. Let's go now to our shot on the Leo. Be nice to get this one in 1 shot here too. So fire 2. We get an 8 and a 1. The torpedo is a dud, unfortunately. Okay, so, however, damage done. We have put the Richmond under the waves. Our first kill on this patrol, giving us a successful patrol. However, we do have target opportunities left. We want to try to take out the Leo here. Let's fire our rear torpedoes at it here. We're going to fire with both. This is a pretty good target here for this opportunity. So we're going to fire both torpedoes, see if we can put this down. All right, let's line up this torpedo attack from the aft tubes on the Leo here. This also gets a -1 bonus because it's unescorted surface torpedo, and we do not incur the second salvo torpedo penalty because it's not a rushed attack. So 0 to 9, same thing, and a 1 or a 2 is a dud on these C6s. Fire 1. We get a 9 and a 1, another dud. Oh, we got crappy torpedoes in this patrol. Come on, let's get this second hit here. We need this one. Fire 2. Oh, man. 3 out of 4. Everything hits. And only 1 of the 4 torpedoes isn't a dud. Okay, so now we have a choice to make. So now our choice is, do we want to stick around and risk an escort showing up? And a 2 to 5, an escort would show up. A 6, we're in the clear and we can initiate another round of combat. In the meanwhile, we're reloading our forward torpedo tubes with our weakest torpedoes, but they are fine at close range. I want to sink this ship, and I think it's worth it because I think it's going to be a good target. And we're probably not likely to get as good or better targets later in the patrol. We're going to stick around. We need a 6 or greater. Oh, no. Escort shows up. Okay. We're in trouble. So with the escort showing up, we have to roll now for escort detection. There are no die roll modifiers on this roll. We have to get an 8 or less to stay undetected. Otherwise, we will suffer a ramming attack. Let's go. Hopefully the U-boat gods are with us. 7. Yes, we are undetected. So that ends that round of combat. And now our choice is, do we stay or do we go? I think because these torpedoes, what we have here, the last torpedoes are these C-3591 torpedoes. They can only be fired at close range. We would have to come into close range, avoid detection before firing, then avoid detection after firing before we could get a shot off. Because we have 2 search patrol boxes left, we're going to disengage here and we're going to let the Leo go. And we could follow, but it's still the same thing. We would have to come in at close range and then try to engage. So yeah, we're gonna cut the chase here. We're gonna hunt for different fish. So we're disengaging from this fight and we're gonna go back to our patrolling. Back out to sea, we're gonna move up to our second patrol zone here. Let's see what we get in the British Isles again. Get a 7. Oh, nice. 2 more ships. Outstanding. So fat, juicy targets here with no escorts around. The hunting is good. We're going to go in close and I think let her rip at one of these targets. Let's see what we get here. I'm going to roll these up off camera because we've rolled a couple of them now on camera. So I'll be back as I figure out what these are. The large freighter gods finally smiled on us. We rolled up the small freighter at 3,600 tons, the Welbury, and then we also rolled up the 5,600 ton large freighter, the Carthage. So some juicy targets here. Let's see if it is daytime. A 1 to 3, it's daytime. It's always daytime. We're going to be surfaced and going to be at close range. We're going to go in. Again, this is unescorted, so we can do what we will with our first kind of whole pass. Now we only have 2 torpedoes left, so we'll fire both deck guns, fire both torpedoes, then we'll see what's left here after this. We're going to put both deck guns. I'd love to get this large freighter. We haven't had one yet, so we're going to fire both deck guns at the large freighter to start out. There are no modifiers on this roll. We need a 0 to 8. Fire 1. 8. It hits. Excellent. Fire 2. Snake eyes. Nice. That's a good shot. Right on target, I hope. So now we need to see what damage it does. We'll roll both of these. The 37 millimeter again has a +3 to it, so we're hoping for nice low numbers. So we hit it twice, and with an 8 or a 9, we did absolutely no damage. Gosh, had we had just a regular deck gun, it would have been almost under the water. This small deck gun is so annoying. We need a bigger gun. All right, let's go to the next round. We'll fire our C-3591 torpedoes at it. They have a dud rate now of 1 or 2. They can only be used at close range, but that is what we were at. Now we've hit 4 times with torpedoes, and we have missed, we've hit, but we had 3 duds in the last round. This is a 0 to 9. We do get a -1 unescorted surface torpedo attack. Fire 1. Oh, 11 and a 5. It's a good torpedo, but we missed. Fire 2. A 9 and a 2. It hits and it's a dud. So we fired 2 deck guns, all our torpedoes, and we got absolutely no damage. Okay. So all that's left now is our deck gun. It's going to take us a month of Sundays to kill this thing with the deck gun. But, I mean, the question is, I wonder if we could switch to cruiser rules now. I'm going to check to see if we can, like the cruiser rules would threaten it and say, we're going to capture you because you're unescorted here. But I'm not sure that we can shift after that, after launching an attack. I'm going to check and be right back. I don't see anything there that says you can't, but I think once we've started attacking, I'm assuming we can't change to trying to make peace with it and try to board it and things. So we are going to continue on. We are going to stick around for another round here. I think we will try to use our deck gun and see if we can, we're going to need a few rounds here. Hopefully no escort shows up. We need a 6 or greater. A 6. Whew, that was close. Okay, so no escorts here. We're going to go after the smaller target first because I think we're going to have to get lucky to get 3 damage on this. I think it's really almost like a 40% chance we get a hit with one of these guns, so I think it could take a couple rounds. So we're going to switch our targeting to the Welbury, the 3,600 ton. We need a 0 to 8 to hit. 10, we miss with our first shot. And a 6, we hit with our second shot. See if it does any damage. 5 plus 3 is 8. We do absolutely no damage with the 37 millimeter gun. We will try to stick around for another round. An 11, nothing shows up. We're going to fire again at the Welbury. A 9 misses with our first shot, and a 3 hits. See what damage we get. 4 and a 3 is 7. 7 or more is 0 damage. It's like firing with a pistol at a big, massive tanker. It just doesn't do damage. They must be just laughing at us. Okay, we're gonna stick around again. We need a 6 or greater. Here's the escort. Okay, well, the party ended here. Okay, so the escort shows up, and now it's going to try to detect us. To avoid detection, we need an 8 or less to survive this, I believe. Yeah, there's no die roll modifiers. An 8 or less. Oh, it detected us. Okay, so ramming attack underway on a 9 to 11. Now, all it gets is 1 ramming attack, and then this is over here. But in a 7 or less, and it would be no effect at all. So a modified result of 7 or less are ineffective. The +2 modifier does not apply because this is daytime on the surface, and the rules state that you are considered submerged when this happens. So no modifiers here. Let's see. We're going to probably suffer some damage though. 7 or less, please. 4. Yes. Excellent. So even though it says 1 hit on the chart, because it's a ramming attack, a modified result of 7 or less is ineffective. But that ends this engagement. The escort is here. We have no torpedoes left. Yeah, I think with the escort there, we don't have a chance. We can't go in with the deck gun. So there's really nothing we can do. We're going to disengage here. All right, so disengaging from that escort, we're going to move on to our final zone here. See what we get. There's been a ton of targets, but just we can't sink anything. I so wish our starting U-boat were just a little bit better. That would have been very, very nice. But with that being said, British Isles, we are searching our third and final zone. We get an 8, a ship, okay? Another ship. I'll roll this up off camera. We have rolled up a small freighter, but another large small freighter, the 3,500 ton Gadsby. And we will close, we're gonna see if it's day or night, 1 to 3, and it's daytime. I think that's like 8 times we've rolled daytimes. I don't think we've hit on the night yet. So it's daytime, doesn't matter because it's unescorted. We have our deck guns loaded, but this time we are going to use the cruiser mod rules on this. We are going to try to take this ship, instead of trying to sink it, we're gonna try to capture it, we're gonna try to board it. So we're going to use the cruiser rules mod here to try to make this work. There is also an initial thing that we need to do here since we've closed into close range and this is a solitary small freighter. We need to roll to see if it's a Q ship or not, which would be basically a warship in disguise. Anything except snake eyes and we are good. We get a 6, so it is all good. We can proceed with our attempt to capture this ship. Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at this chart here. A, which is get the ship to heave via signals. On a 1 to 4, we are successful. On a 4 to 5 or 6, failure, and the next round begins. And then between each round, we have to roll to see if an escort shows up. So we need a 1 to 4 to be successful. Yes, excellent. So we are successful. And that means on the next round here, we can either order to abandon ship, which takes us to a different option path, or we could have a boarding party. However, we always have to roll to see if an escort shows up between rounds. We need a 6 or greater, a 5 or less, and 1 shows up. 7, no escort. Excellent. So far, so good. So we've gotten the ship to heave with signals. Our options now are they can either order them to abandon ship, in which case we could board it, or we could put on a boarding party. Let's order them to. The question, if we order them to abandon ship and then we board it, it's another chance for an escort to show up, which makes me a little bit nervous. If we try to board it and fail and there's a boarding action, then there's still a chance that an escort could show up. But yeah, we're going to go for it. We're going to send on board a full boarding party. We're just going to go right for boarding. 1 to 4, it's unopposed, and the vessel may be scuttled or taken as a prize if not damaged. 5 or 6, the crew resist boarding with small arms fire. Proceed to next round. So here we go. We need a 1 to 4. Yes! Excellent. So we have unopposed boarding. The vessel may be scuttled or taken as a prize. Because we have yet to capture a vessel on this patrol, we can always take 1 vessel as a prize. So we're going to take this as a prize. The 3,500 ton Gadsby is us, and prizes count double So instead of it counting for 3,500 tons sunk, it counts for 7,000 tons sunk. And we'll leave our second watch officer aboard and then a minimal crew to take this prize ship back. And we go back to Germany with a captured ship in hand. Most outstanding work. That makes me feel a little bit better here. The Gadsby is ours. First successful striking of colors and boarding of an enemy ship. Nice. And with that, our patrol is over. Again, we can't go to a fourth zone because of our limited range. We head back into our first transit zone, hoping for safe passage through the transit zone. Get a 10. We're through there. Let's go to our next transit zone. We can see Wilhelmshaven off in the distance, the German coast. We are 8. Home. Excellent. Yes. Okay, so that was by far our best patrol yet, despite all the aggravating duds and hits with our wimpy, measly deck gun. Let's wrap up this patrol. Back in Wilhelmshaven, let's tally up the damage here. So we sank the 3,200 ton Richmond and we captured the 3,500 ton Gadsby, giving us a value of 7,000 tons for that ship. The total there is 10,200 tons. That gives us over our 6 patrols so far, going up from 12,000 tons to 22,200 tons. We've had 6 missions, 5 successes and 1 failure. If we have another successful mission on our next mission, we will have a crew advancement, or one of our officers could advance. We'll gain some experience. That brings us to the end of our July 1915 patrol. We will refit in the month of August and we'll be back out to sea in September of 1915, as we had no damage forcefully, despite we successfully evaded that ramming attack by the submarine. So we'll refit, have a month rest here, and be back out to sea in September 15th. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in patrol number 7.